you see parathas everywhere, and they're quick. It's like a quick snack. Everyone wants to be different. I think personally, you don't need to be different. You just need to be good. My initial thinking is that as long as you don't have a plan B, you're gonna give it 100% in whatever you're doing. The first 2 years, I didn't really make any money, but I was still happy.
6 महीने या साल भर के लिए कॉस्ट और एक्सपेंसेस आपके पास बैकअप में होना चाहिए.
बैकअप है तो बड़ी अच्छी बात है.
सही.
लेकिन बैकअप होता नहीं है. यही जो चल रहा है, ये लोगों को पसंद आ रहा है, तो इसी को बेहतर करते जाओ. स्पेस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट.
सही.
आपके पास स्पेस है तो आप सफाई रख सकते हैं.
सही.
आपके पास स्पेस नहीं है और काम बिजी हो गया तो आप सफाई नहीं रख पाएंगे.
हेलो एंड वेलकम बैक टू आवर चैनल सोशल अनटोल्ड. आज की हमारी वीडियो में, इस एपिसोड में हम बात करेंगे एक यंग एंड राइजिंग एंटरप्रेन्योर के साथ, जो एक रेस्टोरेंट चेन मैनेज करते हैं कॉल्ड Paratha Inn, based in London. And for me, he is like a younger brother, but he's never done an interview before. It's the first time he'll be appearing on any podcast or any show like this. So let's not wait. Let's start diving into our show. Hello, Zishan. कैसे हैं आप?
ठीक ठाक. How are you doing? You alright?
Very welcome. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having me here.
So, Zishan, tell us about your ventures. Tell us about yourself. Let's start with one key question, which I'm sure quite a lot of people would like to hear first. कि क्या आप एक रेस्टोरेंट बिजनेस फैमिली से हैं? क्या किसी की इंस्पिरेशन आपको कहाँ से आई कि एक रेस्टोरेंट स्टार्ट करना चाहिए?
Right. Restaurant family से तो कोई ऐसा लेना देना नहीं है from the beginning. Me personally, I'm not really a foodie guy myself, to be honest. It's just that something that connected really later on in life. It's kind of saw a gap in the market and I thought we should kind of give it a go.
तो आपकी इंस्पिरेशन क्या थी? आप शुरू से क्या करना चाहते थे? Did you, like you said, it was something that in the market आपने देखा कि एक रेस्टोरेंट शुरू के गैप है और शुरू करना चाहिए. इससे पहले आप क्या करना चाहते थे?
So before I was just doing a normal like all Asian families, parents expect them to do. Like I was going uni, finished uni, started working in a bank, normal accountancy and finance, going to a different financial firm, just working there. But then I realized that I wasn't really getting anywhere in the sense of I wasn't feeling, yes, work was good, the money was good, but I wasn't feeling content, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Kind of felt like I was wasting a couple of years. So फिर सोचा कि, you know, it's about time to look into things that I would rather enjoy doing.
So let's talk about this, because I know from experience कि London बल्कि UK एक ऐसी जगह है जहाँ पे 80% of the restaurants they close within the first year.
Yeah.
Did you know the stats? Did you know this कि the kind of risk you were taking जब आप एक रेस्टोरेंट शुरू करने जा रहे थे?
No. To be honest, I was just so fed up with what I was currently working as that I just wanted to give it a go.
Okay.
Completely.
और ये आइडिया कहाँ से आया आपके पास?
Idea as such ये था because I used to visit Pakistan quite regularly anyway. तो जाते रहते हैं. And you see parathas everywhere. And they're quick. It's like a quick snack, you know? Everybody, like, it's like, for example, here, you get your burgers on every road, you get your pizzas everywhere, you get your doner kebabs everywhere.
So you wanted a fast food version.
So I'm just trying to make parathas trendy again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Okay.
I want it to be everywhere, like any other snack.
So let's start talking about the restaurant itself and how you started it. तो आते हैं, आपने शुरू किया कोविड के दौरान, जो कि किसी भी बिजनेस के लिए it was kind of the worst case scenario. तो let's talk about, you've decided, आपने decide कर लिया कि आपने एक रेस्टोरेंट को स्टार्ट करना है, आपने जॉनरा डिसाइड कर लिया काइंड ऑफ कि आपने आपका बेसिक, आपका यूएसपी जो होगा वो पराठा होगा.
ठीक है.
तो लेट्स स्टार्ट फ्रॉम देयर.
ठीक है. तो स्टार्टिंग कुछ ऐसी थी कि कोविड से पहले आई थिंक वी वर सपोज्ड टू ओपन इन मार्च.
अच्छा.
So the shop was ready, we were ready to just open the doors, and then COVID hit.
Acha.
So then we couldn't open for another, I think it was 8-9 months maybe.
Acha.
Around that time, not specifically, but itna ko time lag gaya tha. So we had to postpone that. So once we opened after COVID, we were only allowed to do takeaway. I don't think sitting in was allowed straight away, which made it a bit easier for me because someone new coming to the food industry, I didn't really know what to expect. So that kind of gave me time to realize, just focus on takeaway slowly, get better, and then eating and start opening.
क्या आपने खुद बनाना सीखा था?
बनाना भी सीखा है, काफी अर्सा काम भी किया किचन में, अभी भी करना पड़ जाए तो there's no issue.
और इससे पहले क्या आपके कोई एक्सपीरियंस था बनाने में, खाना बनाने में? अच्छा, okay. So again, let's talk about this कि एक रेस्टोरेंट शुरू करने के लिए जो लोग ये पॉडकास्ट देख रहे हैं, अगर उनमें से किसी का ये माइंडसेट बनता है कि वो एक रेस्टोरेंट शुरू करते हैं, तो उनको क्या चीजें, किन चीज, like okay, let me put it in another words. If you did it now all over again, what would you do differently?
I wouldn't change nothing. I'll be honest, because the main thing is anybody that wants to open a restaurant or anything really, everyone wants to be different. I think personally, you don't need to be different. You just need to be good. If you're just good, if your quality of whatever your product is, if it's good and the person is buying it from you, they get their money's worth, they are gonna come back. Do you understand? So that's what we aim for. Like our parathas, for example, they are made on site. Okay, I'm fresh, but there's nothing frozen. So that's our selling point. And we really make sure that they're always fresh.
Okay. Okay. So now let's talk about this. Setting up. क्या आपको चीजें, यानी obviously as you said कि you were new to this.
Yeah.
तो आपको गाइडेंस कहाँ से मिली कि क्या करना चाहिए, लोकेशन ढूंढना, लोकेशन आपको डिसाइड करना कि यार इस जगह पे बनाना चाहिए, ये सारे डिसीजंस, फिर आपको आपके रेस्टोरेंट के अंदर क्या इक्विपमेंट चाहिए, क्या होना चाहिए, क्या नहीं होना चाहिए, तो ये इसके बारे में थोड़ी सी तफसील बताइए. जस्ट टेल अस अ बिट मोर इन डिटेल अबाउट दिस.
सो इन टर्म्स ऑफ कि कोई गाइडेंस या कुछ इस तरह का प्लान फॉलो किया जाए किसी ने दिया हो, तो it wasn't anything like that. I made a lot of mistakes, yeah, but that's how I learned everything, to be honest. Little example, when I made the kitchen for the Paratha in Croydon, I thought that was enough space. 6 months 6 महीने बाद वो हमें तोड़ के एक्सटेंड करना पड़ा. क्यों? हमने थोड़ी चीजें गलत रखी हुई थी. We were not maximizing the space. ठीक है? तो when we got a little bit busier, we realized we need to, you know, get more space in the kitchen.
So let's step back a little. Location. You said you have a store in Croydon, and you've got a second store now. Congratulations on that. In Streatham. So tell us about the choice of location. Why choose Croydon?
Croydon, to be honest, it was the only place at that time that was available and I could afford. You know, a lot of places have premiums and stuff like that. I didn't have any extra budget at the back. So it was the only available shop that I could get away from home. And I had to kind of just make it work.
सही. तो अब आ जाते हैं कि शॉप सेटअप. क्या आपको ये शॉप सेटअप मिली थी एज ए रेस्टोरेंट कि नहीं?
नहीं. It used to be, I don't know, I think so. चिकन शॉप. I mean, कोई रहता नहीं था इस शॉप में, कोई काम नहीं कर रहा था. मतलब 2-3 साल से बंदी पड़ी हुई थी.
अच्छा.
Nobody wanted to touch or buy it because they had too many problems, there too many leaks, there too much work to be done.
सही.
So I just thought, let me just jump in and hope for the best, really.
Okay. तो आपको इसके लिए सेटअप के लिए एज आई सेड कि किचन बनाना, बाहर की जगह बनाना, आपकी ब्रांडिंग करना एंड सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ, कितना टाइम लग गया ये सारी चीजें पूरी करने में?
5-6 महीने लगे गए थे, to be honest, but that's me working every day.
अच्छा.
क्योंकि ब्रांडिंग भी खुद कर रहे हैं, मेन्यू भी खुद सेट कर रहे हैं, इंटीरियर भी खुद देख रहे हैं कि कैसा, you know, how to make it look nice and cozy. At the same time, you need to remember, I don't have any knowledge of this.
So did you hire any consultants to do your branding or to do your design and so on? Achha.
For construction work, yes, obviously professional builders have to come in and do what wanted to get done, but in terms of branding and anything else, it's just whatever I liked.
So what was the vision कि जब आप जगह बना रहे थे, आप क्या सोच के बना रहे थे कि इसको किस तरह दिखना है? Did you get any जो end product आपको मिली?
जी.
In terms of the look, in terms of the branding, was it what you expected or what you had visioned?
It's better than expected, to be honest. Yeah, because I just made it very basic, very simple, very clean cut, but at the same time a bit cozy. I wanted to make it feel like you feel comfortable. So if someone wants to come and do their work, they can do that. If somebody wants to grab a quick bite, they can do that as well.
Same.
So together, it came out as better than expected, personally.
और मेन्यू यू जस्ट मेंशन कि आपने मेन्यू भी डिसाइड करना था, मेन्यू सेटअप करना था, इसके लिए आपको क्या चीज़ें करनी पड़ी? लाइक यू सेड मेंशनड अर्लियर कि आपको ये पता था कि आपने बेस रखना है पराठा, तो वहाँ से फिर आपने आगे क्या किया?
So I had a few chefs, to be honest, at the begin with, ठीक है, and kind of explained to them what I actually wanted to achieve. ठीक है, so we tried a lot of different parathas, different wraps, different forms of parathas, and whichever, because I didn't want to have an extensive menu, if that makes sense. I wanted to keep it limited and just keep doing the same thing again and again. The menu is very limited. You probably have tried it. You know how it is.
Definitely, yes.
So we went through a lot of different flavors, different wraps, tried kiya, try kiya, nahi pasand aata, so they just left it out.
Sahi. So now let's talk about moving on, and let's go into a bit of you've started, albeit COVID के दौरान आपने शुरू किया, आप सिर्फ takeaways कर सकते थे, with all the hurdles and everything you've had. What was the next step? Marketing. And so now what we want to achieve from this is anybody who's starting new जो नए शुरू करने चाह रहे हैं, ताकि उनको पता हो कि स्टेप बाय स्टेप हमें पहले क्या करना है, उसके बाद क्या करना है. So keeping that in mind, अब चलते हैं. तो आपने डिसाइड किया आपको रेस्टोरेंट चाहिए. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट आपका डिसीजन था लोकेशन वाइज, व्हिच यू एक्सप्लेन्ड के दैट वाज द ओनली थिंग अवेलेबल ड्यू टू बजट. फाइन. फिर आपने रेस्टोरेंट सेटअप किया. ठीक है. फिर आपने उसका मेन्यू डिसाइड किया. ठीक है. नाउ यू आर ऑन योर डे 1. ठीक है. व्हाट इज गोइंग थ्रू योर माइंड कि अब आपने क्या करना है, इसको आगे कैसे लेकर जाना है?
Right. Can I go in detail with
everything? Of course. हाँ, absolutely.
Yeah. So just to break it down, I might go off track. It's not just about Paratha Inn, for example, yeah?
ठीक.
So my initial thinking is that as long as you don't have a plan B, you're going to give it 100% in whatever you're doing.
ठीक है, very well said.
ठीक है. I didn't have a plan B. So Paratha Inn wasn't or isn't something that I'm trying to compete with someone or, you know, I need to get 100 stores or do this or do that. It was just that I need to leave my job, I need to set up something that pays my bills and I'm comfortable. Okay? And alhamdulillah, I did that. But that only happened because I didn't have nothing to fall back onto. So every day was different. Like, fair enough, it was COVID. I did not know what kind of sales to expect. I didn't know any different because at the same time, it's my first time. The sales were not very high, but it was just covering the cost from the get-go.
Acha.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing, right?
Yeah. But that was only covering it because I was physically there myself, every day. So if I need to be in the kitchen, I'm in there. If I need to be at the front, I'm there. If I need to be at the like, I'm doing everything that I can just to keep it in a flow. So on your average day, how many hours would you put into the restaurant? Say, kitne ghante aap? Starting mein, to I used to be there by 8 o'clock in the morning. And we used to leave around 1-2 o'clock at night.
Achha.
Every day. Achha. 7 days a week.
So
for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
so knowing this कि आपका कोई फूड में बैकग्राउंड नहीं था, आपका केटरिंग से कोई लेना देना नहीं था, तो आपको कैसे पता चला कि आपने रॉ मटेरियल्स कहाँ से खरीदने हैं, प्रेप्स किस चीज़ की करनी है, क्या चीज़ ऑन द स्पॉट बनेगी, किस चीज़ की प्रेप करनी है, कितने अमाउंट में, क्वांटिटीज, ऑल दोस काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स?
So in terms of cooking and everything, I've got quite a few friends that have places. Yeah, they are in the food industry for a very long time. So obviously they guided me in terms of food, where you can buy the food from, how you can, they can supply it to you, that kind of stuff. So that really helped. But then once I knew what I needed, because it just made it a lot easier. Okay, so now how much have you had to improvise? What do you mean in terms of setting up? So saying we always plan for something, but things don't always go towards the plan. ठीक है? Now you've started, आपने रेस्टोरेंट शुरू किया, आपने खाने का बिजनेस शुरू किया, कोई चीज आपको जिस चीज का आपको कभी एक्सपीरियंस नहीं था, आपने वो चीज शुरू की, which is a risk that you took and you won. Now आपका प्लान शायद did everything go according to the plan? That's my question. Yeah. Okay. कि जिस तरीके से आपने सोचा था. I think yes and no. I'll be honest with you, because I didn't really, मेरे कोई एक specific image nahi thi in my head ke in 1 year time it should be doing this. Or, you know what I'm trying to say?
जी.
The first 2 years I didn't really make any money, but I was still happy, if that makes sense. Like, you know, putting stuff in a nice bag, branding it nicely, customers are coming back. For me, that was just keeping me going. Do you understand? Like, it was just giving me enough happiness that, you know, somebody's buying something that I've made. Like, somebody's buying my product. That kept me really going for like at least the first year. And then it got a little bit easier in the sense of I've got enough staff in the kitchen. I've got enough staff at the front. So if I need a couple hours in the day, I can focus on my personal life as well.
So okay, now you've mentioned staff and you've mentioned cost and so on. So now एक चीज ये मैं जानना चाहता हूँ कि ये कोई मिथ है या ये रियलिटी में भी ऐसा होता है कि मैंने हमेशा ये सुना कि कोई भी बिजनेस, कोई भी रेस्टोरेंट आप स्टार्ट करते हैं तो आपको 6 महीने या साल भर के लिए कॉस्ट और एक्सपेंसेस आपके पास बैकअप में होना चाहिए. So you can cover the cost. You may not make enough money to pay your bills. You may not make, or most likely you won't make. I mean, that's the expression, or that's what we get. तो क्या reality में ऐसा ही है?
Reality में अगर बैकअप है तो बड़ी अच्छी बात है.
सही.
लेकिन बैकअप होता नहीं है. Do you understand?
जी.
अगर तो बैकअप हो then it's good. But in reality, it's you're living by the day. Me, like from my experiences, when I started, just to cover costs, my aim was not to make profit. My aim literally for 2 years was the shop needs to be open and it needs to run.
ठीक.
So as long as the staff is getting paid, even if I have to borrow money from this friend, and then obviously I have to pay it back now, so I have to get it from a different friend to help him out. So the budget wasn't there. I was just managing it somehow. But then eventually, alhamdulillah, got better over time.
So कोई ऐसे experience आप share करना चाहें, कोई ऐसी चीज, something that you may feel at the time it might have been difficult, but now you think back on it, you say, yes, that was a blessing in disguise.
It was, to be honest. You know, when money is tight, when starting a business, you find ways of keeping your costs low. You know, when you have too much funding, it's harder for you to keep track on how much you're spending on things.
सही.
ठीक है, जब बजट आपका टाइट होता है तो it makes it because you don't have it. ठीक है, so you have to make it work somehow, and you do, and it's beautiful how it actually happens.
कोई experience, कोई example ऐसा देना चाहेंगे?
कोई example ये है कि for example, like I mentioned earlier, I had to borrow money from my brother, for example, now. ठीक है, so then I have to borrow money from my friend, but then obviously I've given everyone dates that I'm going to get back to you next week. You understand? So then I see it's like a very vicious cycle I was in for a little while. They were getting paid back, but that it carried on like that. It used to really affect me in the beginning. Like, have I started something wrong here? Am I ever going to get out of it?
I was going to get to this point a little later on. So, but continue.
Yeah. So have I started something wrong? Like, am I ever going to get out of this kind of cycle? And then, you know, people say consistency is key, and I don't think a lot of people understand the actual meaning of consistency is key. You have to repeat yourself at the end of the day. On my menu, there's only 10 things, let's say. I've been making it for the last 4 years. We're not changing anything, but if anything, we're selling more of it. So like I said in the beginning, you don't need to be different. Just be good.
Say.
And it works.
So we'll come back to one question that came out of your conversation. कि मैं पूछना यही चाह रहा था कि क्या किसी वक्त आपको ये लगा कि यार मैंने कोई गलत फैसला ले लिया रेस्टोरेंट खोल के, या मुझे बंद करने देना चाहिए या कहीं और चले जाना चाहिए? I mean, were you ever in that situation?
Yeah, of course. In the beginning,
did you doubt your decision?
I wouldn't say doubt, but I got really tired physically. I really got really tired physically. Like, you know, like all your family is going to the little nephew's birthdays. They're getting together, they're going on holiday. And I can't, you know, I physically can't because I can't afford stuff. So I'm physically there. So I did feel sometime like it was again a bit sidetracked, but I just kept my head on and carried on. And
so I'll come to a personal question now, Zishan. So I've known you for 10, 15 years, something like that. और जिस जीशान को मैं जानता था और जो जीशान आज यहाँ बैठे हैं, they are two completely opposite people. How did this happen?
It just happened overnight. I'll be honest with you. So you know me from before.
बिल्कुल.
Yeah, we've been to a lot of different countries together. But since I opened the store, I made a promise to myself that I'm gonna make this work just as long as it pays my bills. Yeah, it doesn't matter how much I'm making, as long as I'm going to work for myself and bills are getting paid, I'm fine. I said, in 2 years' time, if I carry on doing this every day, inshallah, it will, get to somewhere, and it did.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, so now let's go towards what advice would you give to people who are looking to start a restaurant business? What are the do's and don'ts? And here I would like you not to be brief, but like you to explain it. कि क्या चीजें उनको ज़हन में रखनी चाहिए, किन चीजों का ख्याल रखना चाहिए before they start
the food venture.
Exactly.
Okay. Basic thing, keep it simple. Don't complicate it. Don't make it extra work for yourself. Focus on one product and make 3-4 different varieties of it. That's it. Easier for you to make, easier to repeat, easier to get better. Okay? I'm going to give you an example. Nothing to do with work. If you want to become a pilot, you need to do, for example, I don't know the exact number, 1,000 air miles. Okay? Before they give you the license. It's up to you now. You do the 1,000 air miles in 3 years or 1 year. Just like a restaurant, you need to give 1,000 hours, for example. If you're spending 1 day a week in your own place, or you back to back doing the 1,000 hours straight away, you're going to learn quicker. You're going to get better. That's all it is. Be consistent. Just show up every day at your work. Because there's a lot of things that you're going to realize on the job. What's working, what's not working. You can't plan everything. Because nothing goes to plan. So you physically have to be there to realize, acha, ye cheez chal rahi hai, and this is not working out.
And you have to think on the spot to make those changes.
And make mistakes, man. Honestly, make mistakes. There's no harm in that. You can't, you can't expect to be. You need to tell yourself, anyone that's starting anything, give yourself a bit of openness in. I'm going to make mistakes and it's fine. Don't say, मैंने ये चीज़ करनी है तो अगर गलत होगी तो embarrass हो जाएंगी. But be, any successful. If you want to be successful in any business in life, be ready to be a silly beginner.
So I think that's true for pretty much everything in life, not just business. Absolutely, very well said. So now you've put together के mindset क्या होना चाहिए.
Have no plan B.
Now let's talk about के UK में for example एक रेस्टोरेंट शुरू करने के लिए क्या लीगल पेपर्स, क्या डॉक्यूमेंट्स, क्या चीजें हमें जरूरी होनी चाहिए होती हैं, क्या स्टेजेस हैं उसको. Let's break it down step by step.
So what you need is when you get a place, you have a lease in place.
ठीक है.
You need to have enough funding to pay for the first 6 months.
So let's go to the lease now. So lease, can it be any lease or is there a specific lease जिसके लिए restaurant?
Normally you get a commercial lease.
ठीक
है, because it's a commercial place.
ठीक है.
So depending on what you want to do, there's different licenses. There's A3 and A5. I think they turned it into E-license now. So what it basically means, some licenses you're allowed to cook in it with the fryer. Some of them, like a coffee shop, you don't need a full license. So you can just heat stuff up. You're not cooking. You don't need an extractor fan.
Acha.
Okay? So if you're going to open a shop in London and you want to have a takeaway, look into leases of shops that already have a kitchen there. Because then you don't have to go and start getting permissions and everything. That's just extra cost.
और टाइम कितना लगता है अगर फॉर एग्जांपल किसी को ये लाइसेंस लेना है तो
3-4 months.
3-4 months.
It could be quicker, it could be longer.
Acha. And now about setting up. Like you said, you've had to start your shop from scratch.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go into your expenses, but roughly कितना budget होना चाहिए kitchen setup के लिए? What how much would you spend on a good kitchen?
On a good kitchen, okay. And the shop and everything, just the kitchen? Just in general?
We'll go to the shop part.
So, just to have a decent kitchen where you have decent appliances, that at the end of the day, it's your appliances that make the work faster.
ठीक है.
So, decent appliances, you've got everything, you got enough storage space, you know, your food is not getting bad, your kitchen is clean enough, yeah, because you got space. About 40, 50, 60, depending on what you're doing. So that's, you know, in the beginning I said to you, keep it simple.
Mhm.
So if you're keeping it simple, you don't need a certain amount of appliances.
ठीक है
ठीक है अगर आप बहुत extensive जा रहे हैं तो फिर you need all sorts. So this kind of helps your cost a bit low as well.
Hmm.
So 40, 50, 60 maybe you can, you know, get a very decent kitchen. But that means you have everything in there. And then another, I don't know, 60, 70.
So now, how much have you had to reinvest?
Mhm. I'm
So
still
from your-
reinvesting.
From when you started into your kitchen, कि यार मुझे ये चीज़ मुझे इस तरह नहीं इस तरह की लेनी चाहिए थी या ये मैंने एक्स्ट्रा ले ली है कि ये चीज़ मैंने सही नहीं ली इसको यानी बेहतर तरीके से
ठीक
कोई
है
चीज़ को ऑटोमाइज करने के लिए मैं कोई और काम भी कर सकता हूँ.
तो तकरीबन तीन एक साल लगे थे मुझे to understand on a real note that these are the appliances I actually need.
सही
Some of the ones that I'm using are probably not needed anymore.
सही.
ठीक है. So it took me about 3 years. Then I realized कि अभी यही हमें चाहिए.
तो अगर कोई बंदा नया स्टार्ट कर रहा है
जी.
तो उनको क्या इन्वेस्ट क्या चीज़ उनको देखनी चाहिए या हाउ शुड दे इन्वेस्टिगेट इनटू दिस कि व्हाट अप्लायंसेस डू दे नीड व्हाट एडवाइस वुड यू गिव अ पर्सन.
Depending what you want to do.
ठीक
है. आपका जो बेसिक जिससे आपका you know your kitchen for a restaurant I'm talking your kitchen is your backbone. ठीक है. जितना efficient आपका kitchen है उतना ही आपके लिए आगे आसान है.
सही
ठीक है. Look into depend what you want to do now. For example, I don't do naan breads.
सही
For example, yeah, they have I don't need the naan making machine or the whatever tandoor or whatever. Yeah,
sorry.
it just things like that. Depends what you need. Don't buy everything that you think you need.
सही
Yeah, get your place and get the specific small items first. Once you get busier, then you can invest in bigger things. Because you know what happens? You might get something very expensive, which is good, but you might not even need. You know, restaurants they kind of take their own direction. Yeah, so I didn't know which way this was gonna go.
So explain what do you mean by taking their own direction?
For example, I open a cafe now. Paratha Inn is doing good. ठीक है. Now because I kept it simple and minimal, it's very not easy, but it's easier to replicate the same thing for a different store. ठीक है. So with time, I realized that rather than adding more things, let's just get better at this one, so I can open another store because I know everything now. Yeah, so when I say it kind of takes its own direction, is when you spend so much time in it, you realize कि यार मुझे और चीज़ें ऐड नहीं करनी है. ठीक है. यही जो चल रहा है, ये लोगों को पसंद आ रहा है, तो इसी को बेहतर करते जाओ. ठीक है. मकसद ये सारा.
Okay. Now अभी आते हैं मार्केटिंग की तरफ.
ठीक है.
तो आपको क्या अब जो लोग नए शुरू कर रहे हैं उनके लिए क्या एडवाइस है मार्केटिंग वाइज कि किस तरीके से उनको अपने आप को मार्केट करना चाहिए. दूसरा टारगेट ऑडियंस कैसे डिसाइड करते हैं या वो रेस्टोरेंट ऑटोमेटिकली वो बन जाता है. क्या आपके जहन में ऐसा कुछ था जब आप शुरू करते हैं कि यार ये मेरी टारगेट ऑडियंस है, इस ग्रुप को मैंने टारगेट करना है, इस तरीके से मैंने मार्केट करना है.
नहीं, कोई when I started ऐसा कोई नहीं था कि हम स्पेसिफिकली इन जॉनरा के लिए हम चीज़ बना रहे हैं. तो वही बात आ जाती है कि टाइम के साथ आपको ये चीज़ें पता चलती जाती हैं कि आपका प्रोडक्ट किन लोगों को पसंद आ रहा है. तो our one is very divided. We have, you know, we live in London, so I wanted to make sure that everyone can try this.
And you're catering everyone.
So, yeah. So it's covering everyone's taste buds. It's not specifically, you know, for one person. So it works. In Croydon, I was going to say, it was actually a bit overwhelming to start with because the support that I got was really nice. There was nothing like this in Croydon before. Okay? So people actually really welcomed us, to be honest. You know, big up Croydon.
Okay, thank you. Now let's move into things like food hygiene and किन चीज़ों का ख्याल रखना चाहिए एक रेस्टोरेंट जो चल रहा है और क्या ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जो उनके लिए एक रिस्क बन सकती हैं जिसमें शायद काउंसिल्स गवर्नमेंट
space is very important.
वो आपके ऊपर आके किसी किस्म की कोई फाइन लगा सकते हैं या आपको बंद कर सकते हैं. ऐसे बहुत सारे एग्जांपल्स हमने देखे हैं. तो वो उसके बारे में जरा बताइए.
Okay, the best thing is make sure that you have a little Bible of your kitchen. When I say Bible, I mean a little, you know, आपकी book है. ठीक है. आपके पास लिखा हुआ जो भी नया बंदा भी start करता है, everything is labeled. This is fridge number 1, this is fridge number 2, so on. ठीक है? Because you have space is very important.
सही
आपके पास space है तो आप सफाई रख सकते हैं.
सही
आपके पास space नहीं है और काम busy हो गया है, तो आप सफाई नहीं रख पाएंगे. You know what I mean?
सही
ठीक है? Push everything in the corners and have space around. Storage बहुत ज़रूरी है.
सही
ठीक है? तो मेन मकसद ये कि आपके पास जो टीम है वो trained होनी चाहिए. You know, I don't know if you know much about what happens in the back end of, you know, the food chain, yeah? But everything needs to be chopped up in different ways. You know, there's a specific fridge for, you know, milk and cheese. The meat has to be separate. Your vegetables have to be separate. They need to be cut on separate chopping boards. There's different knives for it. You know, you have to make sure everything is actually in its own space.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, as long as you have that, everything is dated, is labeled, you don't have any problems.
और फूड वेस्टेज कितना बड़ा मसला है?
बहुत बड़ा मसला.
मैनेज कैसे करते हैं इसको? पहले तो फूड वेस्टेज क्यों होती है?
Food waste.
पहले इस पे आते हैं और दूसरा सेकंड पार्ट ऑफ इट हाउ टू मैनेज इट.
You know, I would say that customers sometimes when they are with their friends or they're ordering for someone, they order more than they need. Always.
सही
They order more than they need, so they don't finish it. It becomes wastage. They have to chuck it away. We can't give it to anyone else. You know what I mean? So that's the main problem. People always order too much.
And so after we'll come to the customers part later.
Yeah.
In the kitchen, so आप prep कर रहे हैं.
In the kitchen, you don't have that much wastage, to be honest.
So this is
Yeah.
what I want to.
So, but that takes time. So, for example, now when I started, I used to either order too much or order too less.
सही.
ठीक है? So it was always a battle. Okay, अब ये चीज़ ज़्यादा बन गई है. It's not going to taste the same, so you need to get rid of it. It hurts and it's sad, you know, when you're chucking food away, but there's no way around it.
So how do you find that balance? What would be the advice?
Now the balance is good. Now, because, you know, when you have a graph, for example, with time, you're able to look at the graph and be like, okay, this normally in January, we are this busy. In February, we are this much busy. Yeah, so you kind of, you make accordingly.
So, okay, this is very interesting now. ये चीज़ मुझे पहले कभी नहीं पता थी कि एक रेस्टोरेंट में आप इस तरह की
आपको सीजन का पता चल जाता है.
So now अब let's go into this कि आपने ये डेटा कैप्चर करना कैसे शुरू किया? ये आइडिया आपको कहाँ से आया कि आपको डेटा कैप्चर करना चाहिए?
Just don't whenever you, this is what I mean. When you keep it simple, you have enough money to buy good softwares.
सही.
ठीक है? क्योंकि आप स्पेसिफिकली सिर्फ एक चीज को बना रहे हैं ना, तो आपका सॉफ्टवेयर जो है ना उस पे आप अच्छे, फॉर एग्जांपल योर चेकिंग इन, यू नो, यू टेक द ऑर्डर्स एंड एवरीथिंग, वो आपका अच्छा होना चाहिए. ठीक है? इट शुड बी एक्सेसिबल ऑन योर फोन. ठीक है? एंड ऑफ द वीक, एंड ऑफ द डे, यू कैन जस्ट क्लिक ऑन देयर. फॉर एग्जांपल आज हमने इस हफ्ते हमने आई डोंट नो 250 आलू पराठे बेचे हैं. ठीक है? पिछले हफ्ते सिर्फ 100 थे.
सही.
Let's work out the dates. What time of the month was it? Was it payday? Was it not? You know what I mean?
Very interesting.
But you have to keep an eye on it, on everything.
Say.
Numbers don't lie, so it helps you.
Say. So now let's come to a point ke you've automized, you've got your kitchen set up. Now let's come to another issue that everybody around me, or myself at least, I feel ke ye ek issue hota hai. Staffing and management of the staff, whether it's your chef, whether it's your front staff. How do you manage that? What are the do's and don'ts of those?
Look after your staff. Look after your staff. If you want to be look, a good business, it's a business where it grows without you being there physically all the time. ठीक है? अगर physically वहाँ पे हर time रहना, even after like 3-4 years, that means it can't run without you. You look after your staff. They look after you.
And what about training? कि आप उनको किस तरीके से train करते हैं?
Intense training. They need to know. They need to know certain standards. Yeah, they need to know. Looking after is when they're actually performing, not just start looking after them. They need to be performing to your standards, and then you look after them as well. So it works kind of together.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So यानी मेरा हमेशा से एक चीज मानना था कि अगर मुझे खुद बनाना नहीं आता, तो then I'm just reliant on a chef.
Yeah.
And if the chef says मैं नहीं कर रहा,
yeah,
I'm stuck.
Unfortunately, it's hard at 99.
So how do you manage that situation?
You just learn the basics of your restaurants. What's your restaurant based on? Is it the dough? Is it the flavor of one certain thing? Learn that.
So how would you know if somebody is taking you for a drive or taking you for a ride? कि ये तुम्हारा जो chef है या staff है, ये they're not being entirely honest with you, or they're not telling you the basics of the key things.
So when I had to go through a lot of stuff, and when you go through a lot of stuff, you meet people from different sectors. कोई किसी मुश्किल में है, कोई कैसे काम कर रहा है, आप आपके बंदों के साथ लेन देन जब काफ़ी ज़्यादा हो जाती है, you kind of realize is this person being genuine or not. ठीक है, तो एक बंदे के साथ अब 5-6 महीने जब आप काम कर लेते हैं तो आपको काफ़ी अंदाज़ा हो जाता है if he's taking you for a ride or not, if you're there yourself every day, not if you just.
So that's important, right?
Yeah. ठीक है, and once you have your staff for 2, 3, 4 years with you, then there's that level of loyalty and respect for each other as well, because at the end of the day we are growing together.
Okay, thank you for the insight. Now Zishan, I'll move on to your new store. And what is it? Is it your own new store? Is it a franchise? What
so we initially we wanted to do it as a franchise, but now I've just opened it myself.
अच्छा,
just another location.
Reason यानी कोई वजह कि franchise से एकदम आपने खुद उसकी responsibility ले ली?
असल में Paratha Inn is very close to me. ठीक है, so if I give it to someone as a franchise, I do expect certain level of standard for them to be
managing. सही?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So when that gives me a bit of a fear, ठीक है, कि ये नाम ना खराब हो, तो उस वजह से end पे मैं double minded होके I just took over. I just done it myself.
So what is your day like now as an owner of 2 restaurants? What is your day like? आप किस तरीके से सारी चीजों का manage कर रहे हैं? Do you still buy your raw material yourself?
Sometimes, yeah, I still do.
Or
so
staff training.
So I've got a lovely team now. To be honest with you, I've got about 20 staff now, alhamdulillah. Yeah, so they all work very closely together as well. So I don't need to be there all the time, but me personally, I like to at least be there at least 2-3 times a day, just driving by. I live quite closely as well, so that really helps. So I'm still there now.
Okay. Now one thing I missed, एक चीज जो मैं भूल गया, आजकल एक ट्रेंड है ऑनलाइन ऑर्डर्स का, Uber है, Deliveroo है, Hungry House है. So all of these platforms, how much of your, if you want to disclose it, but how much of your sales comes through these platforms?
50%.
And how? Okay.
So it's unfortunately we've become a very lazy generation. We like to order food on our phone. We all do it. Sometimes 2-3 times a day.
बिल्कुल.
So if the sooner you realize that technology is playing a big part in your whatever industry you're in, the better for you.
अच्छा, थोड़ा सा डिटेल में जाते हैं इन प्लेटफॉर्म्स को लेकर
जी
कि how does it work with these platforms? What is your contract with these platforms?
So what they do, so for example, Deliveroo, Just Eat and Uber Eats, they take a percentage
अच्छा
per order.
अच्छा.
So for example, it varies in what area of London you're in, or in England or in the UK, the percentage changes. In Croydon and London is between 29 to 39%.
Oh wow.
Per order. It's quite a bit. They take quite a big chunk. Trust me.
अच्छा, एक सवाल जो शायद आप आंसर ना करना चाहिए. उबर और डिलीवरी की प्राइसेस में और आपकी अपनी प्राइसेस में कितना फर्क है?
थोड़ा सा है.
ओके. उनकी ज्यादा है.
हाँ.
अच्छा, चले.
सही. Delivery charges and all that.
अच्छा, let's leave that at there. तो अब आते हैं हम इस चीज के ऊपर कि what is the future for Paratha Inn?
Future for Paratha Inn, we've got we're working on quite a few stores in the pipeline at the moment. So the plan is to get it to as many high streets as possible. That's the plan.
So are you focusing on London just now, or you are looking?
So till 2026, it'll be just London.
Say.
And then that's what we forecasted. And after that, we are expanding throughout England.
Acha. Acha.
It takes a lot of work in the background, a lot of logistics, a lot of, where to
So
cook
are we
everything, how to
likely
send
to
it.
see another store in like in the new year?
No, in 2025, yeah, hopefully 1 or 2.
अच्छा,
Mm-hmm.
तो अब अगर आ जाए कि आप फ्रेंचाइजेस देख रहे हैं या आप अपने फ्रेंचाइजेस?
Franchises,
ओके,
mainly.
ओके.
Yeah, I just want to.
अगर आप बताना चाहें तो आप बता सकते हैं हमारे व्यूअर्स को, अगर कोई फ्रेंचाइज में आपके इंटरेस्टेड हो. So
Gee,
how
of
do they
course,
approach
if
you? What do
if
they?
anyone is interested in a franchise, contact us on info@parathainn.co.uk.
Mhm.
I manage the emails myself, so I will get back to you personally. The aim is to just get as many proteins available in every area as possible, to be fair.
So now, what will be your basic? कि आप क्या support provide करते हैं?
So
franchises को?
I work very closely to any franchise that's coming on board. ठीक है?
अच्छा.
The first 2-3 weeks I'm there myself.
Mhm.
ठीक है? We work very closely till I'm satisfied they understand everything, they know everything, they can just handle it themselves. Even after that,
Mhm.
I'm very easy to approach, no problem.
Okay.
Because it's so close to me, I want to make sure that they do good.
Okay. Now, for our final words, let's conclude. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But now I would like you to just conclude in a nutshell. So, starting a new restaurant
Yeah.
now in this time in London,
Mhm.
good idea or a bad idea?
Good idea.
Okay. Even though there are so many
yeah,
out there,
good idea if you're willing to be patient.
and putting the time in, of course.
Yeah, if just because you've got a bit of money, a bit of funding, and you think I'm going to invest this and I want to see return within 6 months or a year, that might not happen, my bro.
So when you talk about funding, के कितने पैसे एक इंसान के पास होने चाहिए for a small restaurant, के वो start करने के लिए basic उनको कितना चाहिए?
To make something decent
जी.
but very small,
Mhm.
take care. You're still looking about 60 to 80k
60 to 80k to start
to
something.
start something. If simple and decent.
अगर मैं उनसे ये कहूँ, अगर वो ये पूछें कि to start it and to sustain for 6 months.
Maybe, yeah. It can work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Advice? Any words of advice for people who are starting new?
Advice?
You've given a lot of
small
bits
ones.
and pieces. So let's conclude it all in one.
Well, the only advice is if you really want to do something, just go for it. Don't have a plan B, because then you won't focus on what you're actually doing. Yeah. Second thing, keep it simple. Whatever you do, keep it simple and keep your head down, man. And just push for at least 3 years. Because by the time you're done in 3 years, you realize you've actually come quite far.
So, Zishan,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome.
This is an opportunity for you to talk to our viewers. हमारे viewers को आप अपने restaurant के बारे में बताइए, locations के बारे में बताइए, उनको invite कीजिए.
So if you ever in Croydon, Streatham at the moment, just feel free to pop in. आपको बिल्कुल ज़बरदस्त fresh, we give you a Paratha. We've got other things as well, but you're more than welcome to come and we look after you.
Thank you very much, Zishan.
Thank you.
So, this was Zishan from Paratha Inn. इनकी वेबसाइट, लोकेशन, लिंक, सोशल मीडिया हमारी डिस्क्रिप्शन में आपको मिल जाएंगे. और हमारे चैनल को लाइक कीजिए, सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, शेयर कीजिए. हम इसी तरह की एपिसोड्स, शोज़ आपके लिए लेकर आते रहेंगे. कमेंट में हमें ज़रूर बताइएगा कि हमारा आज का शो आपको कैसा लगा और आप और ऐसे शोज़ देखना चाहेंगे. थैंक यू वेरी मच.